Well, it's time to talk about one of the most controversial movies of this year. And no, I'm not talking about a sequel to the live-action version of Cats. I'm talking about none other than The Flash. Let's get nuts. What's up, guys? I'm Sully, and today I'm super excited because after long waits and delays and many bumps in the road, we finally get to talk about the new DC superhero movie, The Flash. I'm sure you're well aware what this one is about, but the story for this one goes like this. Worlds collide when Barry uses his superpowers to travel back in time in order to change the events of the past, but when his attempt to save his family inadvertently alters the future, Barry becomes trapped in a reality in which General Zod has returned, threatening annihilation, and there are no superheroes to turn to. So I feel like before we dive into this one, we need to address the faster than the speed of light elephant in the room here. Ezra Miller has been in the news a lot this past year, and it hasn't been for doing good shit, I'll tell you that. Whether you can separate the artist from the art in this case is a decision only you can make, so I'm not going to be discussing any of that in this video. The comments section of a movie review always gets spicy enough without discussing criminal activities, so here we go. And I want to start this one by talking about superhero movies in general, because obviously one of the big draws of this one is that it's set up to be another film that's packed to the brim with cameos and surprises, and I feel like the sheen and the wonder around cameos in superhero films has kind of lost its appeal, at least for me. The MCU popularized this formula so much with their post-credit scenes, and sometimes it seemed like people were only in the theater for some of those movies in the first place because of that section. We're all junkies for that little cameo dopamine hit, what can I say? And for a long time, I absolutely loved it like everyone else, but now I kind of feel like I'm numb to it all. Obviously, fan service in movies has been a hot topic for a long time, when there's too much of it, when it's just there to put butts in seats. So why am I bringing this all up? Because surprisingly, that's actually where The Flash differs. I thought this story was a near perfect way of taking the benefits of fan service and mixing it in with a story where it actually works being there. If you're familiar at all with the Flashpoint comics, you know that it would make total sense having two Barry Allens, multiple Batmen, and a whole host of other kooky multiverse shit going on. And piggybacking off of that, one of the best things about this movie for me is that the time travel story didn't feel cheap or forced. We all know that nowadays, unfortunately, time travel's pretty much become a gimmick in movies, right? It used to be such a cool idea, and I love a good time travel story as much as the next guy, but when a writer doesn't know what to do with their characters, they make them time travel or they send them to outer space. It's either one or the other, pick your poison. But in this movie, the stakes felt real, the backbone of the story was centered around emotion, and it made sense why Barry Allen had to do what he did to try and complete his goal. A lot of people have been comparing this one to Back to the Future and saying it's basically the superhero version of that, and I do think it has a similar vibe, you know, if Marty McFly could run really fast and Doc Brown had batarangs, but in using that tone, it makes it so the movie can be equal parts emotional and funny. I mean, it's not the next Good Will Hunting or Step Brothers. There are some emotional beats and jokes that definitely don't land, but a lot of recent superhero films have been lacking in that department, so it stood out to me. Now, getting to the performances a little bit, I'll start off by saying that even before all of the drama and the scandals, I was never that big of an Ezra Miller fan to begin with, but playing two versions of the same character in the same movie and making them feel distinct from one another is not an easy thing to do, and Ezra Miller proved to be up to the challenge in this one. It was definitely interesting seeing Michael Keaton back as the Caped Crusader 30 plus years later. He was never my favorite version of the character, but it was cool to see a live action Batman in that stage of his life, and he plays that mentor role to Barry Allen well. Sasha Calle as Supergirl really surprised me here. I just did not know what to expect from her when I sat down to watch this movie, but I liked what I saw, and I hope we get a chance to see her again. I feel like the CGI was a bit of a mixed bag for me throughout this movie. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were points in here where I thought it looked spectacular. All of the slow-mo scenes where the Flash is using his powers, the sequence utilizing Ben Affleck's Batman, and whenever they showed us what this time travel was supposed to look like, I thought all of that looked really up to snuff and definitely showed me what I wanted to see. On the other side of the coin, though, I thought the visuals left a little bit to be desired in other places. It comes off as very video gamey in some areas, especially during the massive battle between our batch of characters and General Zod. The overall tone of the movie helps to not let that bother you as much as it could, since everything's fun and it's goofy, but it's still something something I can't really overlook. Some of those scenes looked like they were ripped right out of Injustice 2, which is fine when I'm in the man cave playing some Xbox, but not when I'm in the theater watching the latest $200 million blockbuster. Now, at the end of the day, is this movie so good that you're gonna run out and get an Ezra Miller tattoo? I mean, I hope not for a multitude of reasons, but it is a very solid and fun superhero movie. Maybe it's not the best thing since sliced bread like some of those early reviews would have you believe, but I really enjoyed my time with it. It had some stuff in it I never thought I'd see up on the big screen in a million years, and I think it acts as a really nice shoving off point for the new phase of DC we know is coming around the corner. The Flash gets a Sully score of 4 stars. So that's my review of the latest DC superhero movie. What upcoming DC film are you looking forward to the most? For me, it's probably Swamp Thing. I love that character, and we're getting a legit horror film. Sign me up. But let me know in the comments below, are you gonna go check this movie out? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys at the next one.